Hi, it's Melissa, and I have a layout today to show you for the latest reveal over at Let's Get Sketchy. This is the sketch by Bryn Chevier, and we're introducing something new this month, and it's mood boards. So we'll have a mood board on the first and third reveal of every month, and we'd love you to play along. So I pulled out the Crepe Paper Close Knit collection. It's a collection that I had to have. I think it was 2013 when it came out, and I've probably made about 3 layouts in total, including this one with it. So when I saw the mood board, I thought 4 colours with a pop of teal, perfect for this collection. So I'm scrapping an Instagram photo and I'm just trimming it down because I think I've shared before that we can't get Instagram photos printed here in New Zealand, and I had to work out a way, with help from YouTube, on how to size them on a 4x6 photo, and then I have to trim them down. So I knew that I wanted to use pattern paper for my background, and I've decided to use that grey, I guess it's kind of a big chevron pattern, and there's grey in the mood board, and I use the mood board entirely to inspire the colours in my layout. So now I'm just working out what colours or papers I want my banners to be, and I started with that beautiful heart piece of paper, and I love that crepe paper always has the kind of distressed tape look, old vintage tape on them. And I had this piece of white cardstock that I'd used for something else, and this was just left over from a silhouette cut. So this paper is one-sided. It's from the 12x12 paper pad, and on its own it's quite thin, so it was quite good to have a border around that paper and also have a bit of stability around the edge. So that's kind of the reasons that I went with that white. And there was also white on the mood board. So I've added a doily for my stash, and I'm loving doilies again at the moment. And now I'm just deciding what other pieces of banner that I want to use. And there's teal on the mood board. And I love this XOXO paper, so I was really keen to use it. And I wanted quite a wide strip, and later on you'll see that I'll trim it down. So the title of this layout is Moby Wrap, and that's what I'm wearing there. I'm really got into baby wearing with this third baby, and in this photo it's at our autumn festival last year, and baby Brielle would have been 12 or 14 days old, and I really wanted to go to the festival because I wanted to get some peony bulbs for my garden. They're my favourite plants or flowers, and I really got into gardening the year before I got pregnant, and then when I was pregnant I was really sick and my garden got neglected, but as soon as she was born, of course, I had great plans for the garden again. And if you know much about bulbs, you'll know that you have to plant them in winter. So that was my sole purpose of going, but it's a festival that we go to every year, and my favourite day of the festival is the Saturday when there's a market. So I didn't want to miss out, and it was just a really, really fun family day out. So here I'm just putting my doily down, and I didn't want to move it from the position that I had it, so I just lifted up the edges and stuck it down with my trusty double-sided tape. And at this point I'm realising that that large banner piece is too large, so I'm just trimming it down. And I'm glad that I hadn't cut the banner at the bottom, because that would have made the whole central line off. So when I cut my banners, I often use the grid on my mat just to find the centre, and then cut up and cut from either side. I think you'll probably see me do that soon. You would have seen me do it with the first pink heart piece. So then I was just deciding where I wanted to place it on the page, and the sketch showed that it went slightly to the left of centre, so I'm wanting to do that as well. So there I'm showing you exactly what I was talking about before, how I cut my banners, and it's a trick that I learnt from Jen Gallagher, probably when she was designing at 2Piece, so it's a really good method to do it. Okay, and then I wasn't quite happy with it there, so I just trim it to make it look like it's central. Find the larger banners are more hard to cut. So I'm happy with that now, and the sketch also showed a banner that went horizontal, so I had this, it's kind of like a genealogy ring on the paper, and I had a piece that I'd used for something else, so there's a bit cut out of it, so I wanted to use some of that up, and I like it because it's subtle. Because I've got quite a bold background, and I've used so far 3 bold pattern papers, I needed something a bit softer and subtle just to go in the background. So there I am cutting my banner, and I'm showing you that if you fold it in half, you can cut an equal uniform banner, and it's not quite long enough, so the trick to that is just to cut it in half and then stick the pieces down and no one would know. So once again, I'm going to use my match. That's why I have it underneath my layout when I'm scrapping, and it protects the table as well, but it's really handy just for lining things up, and so I'm committing to that. So now I'm ready to adhere it onto my page, and I think it's probably a lot bigger than what the sketch shows, but as I've said before, these sketches are to guide you, and we just need to see that you've been inspired and that we can see the sketch in your layout. So now I'm adding this piece, and I did think about using that piece as the background. It's like a vintage pattern, sewing pattern, and it reminds me a lot of when I was little and Mum did a lot of sewing and the patterns were always on that tissue paper. So because it's subtle, I'm liking the extra matte that it's going to provide behind my photo, so I'm sticking that down. And now I'm ready to stick the photo mat on top of my other pieces. And then I'll be ready to adhere the main cluster or photo mat. I stitched around the edge with my sewing machine, and I've just trimmed off the threads. Since I've changed my setup, my sewing machine's on another table now, so unless I go over there I can't really show you the stitching. And now I'm just adding some ink splatters. I'm using Highly Spot Colour Shine in a dark pink and coral, and that's kind of to match the colours that I've used in the papers. And then I'm adding some gold. I find the gold, I don't know if anyone else finds this, but the gold does really big splatters off the first drop. So that's why I splattered them in the middle, knowing that they wouldn't be seen. This little cut apart sheet is really cute. It's got lots of vintage items on it, and I love that family fun little piece. And now I'm just cutting some of the word strips off the other piece of cut apart. What I do like is that the paper pads come with 2 sheets of every paper, so you get more bang for your buck, but it does take longer to use up. So now I'm using that little piece that says Truly Happy, and I think it's got the date at the top, and I also found one that has a heart and it says Mother, and I think that's perfect for a layout about baby wearing and baby carrying. My other 2 kids are in this photo too, and Sam is pulling the peace sign or rabbit ears behind Azaria. She's got no idea. Here is the chipboard sheet, and like I said, I've hardly used anything. I did think about putting that frame on top of my photo, but then I like the fact that you can see Azaria and Sam. I didn't want to cover them up. So I'm just playing around here, and my embellishment went I was going to say went off on a tangent, but the sketch showed areas of embellishment on that horizontal banner, and I decided not to do that. I decided to keep my embellishment more clustered around my photo, and you'll see soon that I'll start to embellish on the doily as well. I like the doily in that it's circular and it's a different texture, and it provides a bit more interest to what would otherwise be quite linear and linear pieces of paper. That's what I'm trying to say. So at this point I'm ready to stick this main piece down onto the page, and I'm not sure why I decided to do it then, but I think it's probably because the ink was dry, but I'm happy with how that's looking. And I'm sorry about the red flashing that you can see. That's my video camera light reflecting off my photo, so just try to ignore that. These are the thickers that go with the collection, and I was a bit surprised with these because they're very green, and I guess this layout doesn't have much green in it, but I did want to stick with this collection because it made it easy, so I'm going with it. And I'm just calling it Moby wrap because it was the first time I'd had a wrap like this. It's one that's cotton and it has a fleece piece for winter, and you just tie it around your body and it holds the baby in. It's really lovely when your baby's a newborn. You can tuck their head under and they pretty much are sleeping right on you. So I'm using some more chipboard. I've got the heart, and I think I just missed seeing it, but I tried to lift it up because I wasn't happy with the placement, but of course on the doily it's going to rip it, so it stays there. And these are the wood veneers from the collection, and once again I've barely used any of them, so it was good to get 4 pieces down on this layout. So I'm going with the XO just above the heart. And what drew me to these wood veneers is that they're darker than the usual wood veneers, which are a lot lighter, so they definitely add that autumn or fall feeling as well. It's just going through, trying to work out what I wanted. Some of the pieces go together, so I didn't want anything too full on. So I'm just using a little arrow, and I think that looks good under the word mother because it's pointing at me. And then I decided to depart from the sketch because I felt the layout needed something else in the bottom right corner, and I had that little family fun cut apart with the floral. And I couldn't make it work around the photo, but I like how it looks down there. So I just wanted to cut a banner, and once again I've gone for that more subtle piece, and I'm just trimming it there. And when I stick it down, I realise that I've stuck it too far out, and I don't think it looks balanced with that little rectangular piece. And you'll see what I mean in a sec. There, if my eye tells me it's too far. So rather than lift that piece up because it would tear the paper underneath, I'm just cutting another banner. And in the end, I really like how that looks. It brings in another piece of the teal, and I just stick that family fun over the top. So now I'm trimming off the excess, and then I decide that it needs another wood veneer, and I decide on a tiny little heart, and I like the way that ties this little cluster at the bottom in with the main photo and main part of the layout. So my final step is to add some Heidi Shine. It is Heidi Shine. Heidi Swap Colour Shine in black, and I was really excited to finally find the black colour shine. I'd looked into major cities here in the South Island of New Zealand, and I was so happy to find it in a new shop that has come to Queenstown. We've got a new shopping centre, so always great to be able to shop at home. Now I'm just adding my journaling. I've got 2 main areas of journaling and the date at the top on that card, and I just felt that the layout was a bit flat, so I've added some dimensionals just to lift it up. And I like that they're quite subtle. So there's my final layout. Hope you enjoyed watching. Welcome to my new subscribers, and thank you so much for your comments. I really do appreciate them. Come along and play along with Let's Get Sketchy. I've got a link below.